Okay, I guess so. I just came in too.
Hey, everyone.
Okay. Hello.
Hello.
It is, I have 8. Pardon me?
I said, who's speaking tonight?
We have a dynamic speaker tonight. I've been knowing this brother for a while. Huh?
Okay.
Yeah, I've been knowing this brother for a while. And just decided, I'm gonna let him do what he do tonight.
Okay.
We just gonna follow suit with it. I'm gonna give everybody else about another. Huh?
I said you got my interest.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna give it about another minute and a half. Then we're gonna get started. Waiting on everybody to get online. Because before we get started,
I just left the board. I don't know if she got home yet.
Oh, okay.
We had a function at the library, the Toastmasters.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Because I know we did the Halloween thing last week.
Oh yeah.
And it turned out a whole lot better than what y'all expected. It was fun. It was cool, but it was fun.
That's all we did.
So you had a Halloween party?
We did like a little haunted house and a trunk or treats.
How many?
And had a mechanical bull. I don't know. I left about 9:30, and there were people still coming. And the event was only supposed to be over. It was supposed to be over at 9:00. But there were people still coming to the event, and I was leaving.
Okay. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Just means they'll be looking forward to the next one.
That's right.
Okay, I got 8:35. Everett, you on the line?
Yeah.
Okay. For those who don't know, the CCC, which is the Concerned Citizen Coalition, has picked up 3 new members. And before we get started tonight and I introduce the guest speaker, I would like to introduce our 3 new members to the podcast and to the other CCC members that they have not met and that are on the line. Their names are, we have LaShonda, we have LaTanya, and we have Tremel.
Okay.
You all can say hello.
Hello.
Good evening. I'm LaShonda.
Everyone.
All right. All right. We thank you all for joining us. Now, I guess it's time to introduce the speaker that everybody's been waiting to hear. Like I said, I've been knowing this brother for a while, and I just said, I'm going to let him get on and do what he do. So without further ado, I present to some and introduce to others, me.
I didn't catch that name.
This is Hamp.
Hey, Brother Hamp, before you get started, just make sure while one is speaking that everyone else puts your phone on mute until you are ready to speak. And before you speak, introduce yourself. So when once Brother Hamp comes with the topic, make sure all phones go to mute unless he asks for a question. And then when you do come in, just kind of introduce yourself so we're not talking over one another. Brother Hamp, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, I be honest with you, this kind of caught me off guard. But I was surfing the web and saw a topic that kind of interested me, and I said I would bring it because I wanted to hear what everyone else has to say about it. And what it is on it was on YouTube. The young lady and a young man went out on a first date, and he took her to the Cheesecake Factory. Well, he asked her about going to the Cheesecake Factory for the first date, and she refused, and she has been taking a bunch of backlash, people calling her on the phone, coming up to her job, sending all kind of messages online and stuff, and all of this. So when I saw this, I was like, well, you know, that I would just want to hear what people would really have to say about stuff like that. So my question to the panel would be, what would be a no-no?
It's making me very no, and no again. It's cucumber still.
Hey, could you please put your phone on mute with the sidebars, please?
But the question was, what would be a no-no place to go for your first date, and why? And then what would be your ideal first date, and why? With the questions being posed, and everyone has heard the questions, the floor is now open.
Ibadane.
Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Welcome, new members, to the CCC group and to our podcast network. So I don't know if I can answer this in the order that you gave it. I think the Cheesecake Factory is a perfect place for a first date. Because, excuse me, are you muted, sir? I'm going to get it. Because
well, I am now, so go ahead and do your thing.
Evidently, I was speaking Yiddish when I asked, just asked, when somebody else is talking, please stay on mute, please. It's going to get a lot of feedback if you don't. So, Vanya, go ahead on with your response, please, now.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's a perfect place. I always say they have an excellent marketing strategy. 30 people can go to the Cheesecake Factory as a group, and there's something there for everybody. But it's also a very public place. So a first date should be in a public place as you're getting to know each other. So I feel like the Cheesecake Factory is a perfect place, but definitely any place that's in open public, not secluded in the back in the booth in the dark, because you also want to see how people behave in public on a first date. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
This is Adrian.
Okay, go ahead, Adrian.
I don't know if I would be angry or, I have mixed emotions on that. I'm not a Cheesecake Factory person, but I think the Cheesecake Factory, correct me if I'm wrong, is like a moderate restaurant. It's not a high-end restaurant. So if it was a high-end restaurant, yeah, I probably would have said no for a first date. I would like to go someplace a little more intimate, a little less, worrying about how much money is being spent or something like that, because that's the kind of stuff I worry about. I'm not going to go on my first date with you and have you spend You know, like I've been to a place called Just Fish, and I remember we went, and it was just two of us, and the bill was $130. And I was like, and I told my friend, look, I'm gonna put in for half the bill. No, you don't have to. No, I am. I'm gonna put in for half the bill, because that sends off the wrong message. If from Jumpstart you paying $130 for me to eat, you know, I don't pay $130 for me to eat, you know. But I think so. It depends on what the Cheesecake Factory, the reputation and what it is. Is it a high-end restaurant? But I went one time and I wasn't really impressed with it, with the food and stuff. But I'm on the line with this, you know. I don't know what the problem was with the Cheesecake Factory for her, but I'm telling you that's what would it be with me. It's all about the price, because you got to be careful with first dates, because you're setting a standard. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying taking you to White Castle, but you know, you don't have to take me somewhere high end.
Okay.
You got to be careful of the that you're putting out.
Yeah, and I can agree with that. But, you know, for me, I've been to the Cheesecake Factory. And from what I can determine, some of them, depending on where they're located, will depend on the price. Because they have a couple of them in Houston. One is out in the Woodlands, and the other one was over in the Galleria, where those are two high-end areas. So the pricing was a little pricey, true enough. And then I don't like the portions that they give you because they're very small. But as far as taking a date there, kind of, well, first date, kind of, yeah. And because you can have the element boost the ambience period be relaxing, because you see people moving around, but you still off in an area by yourself, you know, just you and your date. So it's not overly loud to where you have to yell at each other across the table. You know, you can have a decent conversation while, you know, and everybody goes there. Everybody don't go there to eat. Some people go just to get appetizers or just to get the cheesecake itself. But I think it would be a good first date place as opposed to going to a Starbucks or something like that.
How you doing, Dr. James? I kind of agree. Like, I was going to say the place you don't go to is White Castle, but Adrian already said that. So I would say, yeah, maybe like don't go to Dunkin' Donuts for the first date. But if you want to go, I think going somewhere like Outback Steakhouse for the first date is good. I don't know, like some kind of steakhouse. I don't see nothing wrong with that. You're going to spend a little bit of money. But like Adrian's saying, she didn't want to spend too much money because it gives the wrong first impression. But you don't want to spend too little money either, because that would give the wrong first impression also. I mean, you know, you get variety at the steakhouse and stuff. They don't have to eat a huge, tremendous steak. They can get a little steak and a salad, or, you know, so I think that would be a good deal.
Yeah. Hey, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
This is Everett. And I get the question. I got both the 2 of the 3 responses. But hey, I'm Everett. How are you? Would you like to go out on a date with me? Yes, I would like to go out on a date with you. Where would you like to go? Well, you give a person some choices, because the best thing about the Cheesecake Factory is the cheesecake itself. I've only been to one, and that was 10 years ago. I ordered some crab cakes and something else, and the cheesecake was off the chain. But that's, like I said, it's not a high-end restaurant. Why was it such a big deal that the person, I mean, what was the big stink about the guy taking the young lady or whoever as a cheese factory as a first date? I really don't get why it was a big deal, because like I said, maybe he gave her some choices, or maybe he just said, we're going to the Cheesecake Factory. That young lady had a choice to say, I don't care to go to the Cheesecake Factory for whatever reason. But, you can give people a choice where they want to go, and so this is the kind of budget I'm on. You're not trying to come off as a cheapskate. You're not trying to take them to the Waldorf Astoria restaurant for a meal either. But I just really don't see the disconnect where the Cheesecake Factory was a big deal, and I think if a person can choose to take another person wherever that other person agrees to go. Now, if a guy asks a woman out on a date, he takes her to a fancy restaurant, avoiding the booth in the back in the dark. And I think that they can have a great time. You don't want to just take one to a bar where there is no food. I mean, they may want to go out and dance. Who knows? But I think the choices are on the two individuals of where they would like to spend their evening and their first night together. And hopefully this is not the first time that they met, because that would almost be like a blind date. Maybe they had a. But I think the perfect first date, and this is just my opinion, normally, where do we take, well, maybe, it's a new day, but normally when I was coming up and dating young lady or whatever, the first date, 7 times out of 10, was a movie. But I just think that each person, they should come together and decide, where would you like to go? What are your interests? And take it from there. But I don't want to know if you have any more information on why it was such a big deal, or why they got so much feedback and what have you from the Cheesecake Factory. Do you have any more info on that?
Well, she said, with part of the interview that she gave, was that she just expected, she was trying to get more out of her friend than just the Cheesecake Factory, is the statement that she gave for the problem with the Cheesecake Factory. She was trying to get more out of him, I guess, to get him to broaden his horizon, come up with something else other than things along those lines. Because I know some people, and I know men and women both, when they're asked about going out, they normally, and you give them the option, in most cases, and I'm not saying with all, but I know it works with men and women alike, they normally want you to take them someplace they can't afford to go.
Good evening, everyone. This is Angela.
Hello.
I'm sorry, I sound a little bad today, but I couldn't just sit idly by. The whole backstory to that is he pulled up to Cheesecake Factory, and she started recording him and saying, "Don't I look too good to go to the Cheesecake Factory?" And he was like, "Well," she said, I look the way I dress. I look too good to go to the Cheesecake Factory. I don't want to go there." And he said, "Well, I had reservations at a nicer place, but you took an hour. You were an hour late for the date, which pushed back the reservation, and it was canceled. So this is the only place that we could go that's a decent place because you missed the reservation." And so that's why she got the backlash, because she tried to play him and record it and posted it. So she got the backlash because she thought she was too good for the Cheesecake Factory. When all in all, he had plans to take her to a much better restaurant. But because she didn't value the time, they weren't able to make it.
Now, see how important it is to know the backstory of things? Sometimes we get just the end result, and everybody wants to criticize based on the end result without knowing the backstory.
But I look at the fact, that time is a big thing for me.
Yeah, me too.
That's an issue for me. You know, and if we're supposed to meet, or I'm to pick you up at a certain time, I do everything within my power to make it there at that time. All I ask is you be ready.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for some people that's a major feat. That's an obstacle and a half. But to think you're too good to go somewhere, that's an issue for me. Because you're that kind of person I wouldn't want to be with. Because in my opinion, you stuck on yourself.
Exactly.
You know, you stuck on you. It's not about us, it's about you. And if that's how you starting off, you already know that this is doomed for nothing. Yeah, it's doomed for nothing. But I would still, like I said, I know there are people who actually, when you give them a choice, they pick one of the highest places they know about. Because it's some place they've always wanted to go but never could afford to go. Been there, done that before. To be honest, that's how I ended up eating at Steak 48 over in Houston, which is a very high-end restaurant. And the bill, if I'm not mistaken, the bill was like $212, $213, something like that. You know, and when you paying the bill, you're looking like, yeah, this will never happen again. Yeah, this will never happen again. From now on, me and this one going away, it's going to be McDonald's. You can get a Big Mac, but you can't. You can get a Big Mac, but you can't supersize it.
Yeah, and I've seen that happen, and I've heard of it happening many times. I've heard females make comments. So if you're going to take me out, you're going to take me out on a high end, a place that I can't afford. If you can't afford it, you don't need to be with somebody else who have to pay for it. You know, go where you can afford. And my mother used to say, always act like you have to pay half the bill, even if you know the other person's going to say, that's okay, I got this. She said, always act like you have to pay half the bill. Come prepared to pay half the bill. If you go into a high-end restaurant, especially, if not, you know, if you go into, you know, Sizzlers, you know, if they still have them, you know, be prepared. You know, my mother had 5 girls, and she said she didn't want any of us feel like we had to be dependent on a man to do anything, to buy us a bag of potato chips, to buy us a lollipop. Yeah, have your own prepared. If you want to buy it, okay. But if you don't, like, okay, I'll buy my own. And this day I have that same attitude. And I don't think it's an attitude. It's just a way of thinking, you know.
And I mean, that's fine. I could live with that. You know, because and a true story is I have a good friend of mine that went out on a date with this young lady, first date. You know, they had talked a couple of times on the phone, and they agreed to meet up and he would pick her up and they would go out. And she wanted to go to Benihana's, But he'd never been to Benihana, so he was like, you know what, okay, cool, we'll go. Said this woman said and ordered $130 lobster meal at Benihana. Said that he sat there, you know, he ordered. See, he sat there and they ate and they talked. He had a lovely time, and he said, "Ooh," he said, "You know what? Excuse me for a moment. I'll be right back."
He left.
He got up. Yes, he did. Got up and left home with a $300 and some tab. I said, damn, bro, it was like that? He said, hey, bro, she knew what she was doing.
She deserved that.
I didn't know Benihana's was that expensive.
Yes,
I've been there, I think, one time.
If you order a lobster, yeah.
Yeah, if you order a lobster meal, it is. And now they serve Kobe beef.
They serve what?
Kobe beef.
Kobe beef.
Okay.
I went there one time, and the guy had the rice jumping out the frying pan and made the rice shape like a heart, and then jumping all over the darn. He playing with the food, you know.
Yeah.
But that's how they cook, you know.
Right. That is how they cook. Because I've been to a hibachi place, and you know, don't get me wrong. I guess the show and all of that is good for those who like it, but I don't like to see you playing with my food like that.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't like to see you playing with my food like that. You know, don't be throwing the egg up, catching it in your head, or trying to balance it on the spatula. I don't care about none of that. Just cook it like I asked you. Because if I came now, obviously I must be hungry. I didn't come to get a show. I came to get some food.
But to be honest, that's their advertising. That's what draws people. People come to see the show. So you coming there for the wrong reason.
No, I come to eat. That's the right reason. I come to eat. That's the right reason. But, you know, everybody ain't for the show. And, I mean, like I said, you know, I heard you. I know that's part of who they are. But, you know, that's why I don't go like that, like one says, because it's just, I don't know. I can't sit and watch you play with my food that I'm finna eat.
Yeah. But you know what? Oh, I'm on the podcast. That's my granddaughter.
You know, and
so did
did
it ever conclude how that relationship went? I mean, was that the last and only date?
Yes.
Okay, because it would be for me too.
Hey,
because we're not compatible on the simplest term, in terms of spending money. So if we can't be compatible on that part level, I don't care nothing about nothing else. We're not compatible at any level.
Well, I mean, you know, and I can understand that. Because everybody does not. Some people don't care what they spend when they go out to eat. They just want to go eat.
Yeah, I'm not.
And then you got some that are kind of conscientious about what they spend when they out to eat. You know, for me, I'm one of them. I'm depending on who I'm with. You know, if I'm with somebody that I really like and I want to really get to know better, then, you know, hey, it is what it is. But if it's somebody that I feel like, you know, this is they kind of stuck on themselves, yeah, as soon as we leave here, we're going by McDonald's to get some ice cream. So
I have a sister, my older sister, and she's like that. But, I mean, I can imagine what she did on dates, because when we were out with family, like uncles, we lived in my uncles lived out of town, and one was in North Carolina, one was in Florida, and they both, were good businessmen, meaning they make good money, and they drove Mercedes and stuff. And every time they came into town, they would take us out to dinner. And every time they take the family out to dinner, my sister, who's the oldest one, and it got to the point that my uncle would say, Regina, you have to order something that's $30 or less, because she said she want to order the shrimp and lobster meal, and she said, and can I get a second one to go?
Oh my!
She would order the most expensive thing. What's the most expensive steak? Sirloin? No. What is it? What's the most expensive steak that melts in your mouth?
The New York strip. Oh, the filet mignon.
Yeah, she would order filet mignon with like a combo with shrimp and 2 sides, and then she would always say, "Can I make another order to go to take home with me?" But after the first time, it would have been the first time. After the second time, my uncle said, "No, if you order that, that's all you're eating all night. You're not getting dessert. Don't ask for nothing to drink. Just get a glass of water." He started doing that to discourage her from placing that. She would still place the order and still ask if she can have one to go. Never come with any money in her pocket. Never say, "Let me help pay towards the tip," which we was also taught to do. When you go out, at least offer to pay the tip. My sister wouldn't do that. And she always wanted to go. No, you can't take a plate to go. And you're not getting dessert. And don't even ask for no drink. How much you charge for water? That's free. Okay, you can get some water. But my uncle said he had to get like that with her, because she thinks, oh, they got money. I don't got money to spend on you like that. There's 6 of you. And I have all 6 of you out here at this restaurant. You're not the only one eating.
Okay.
But it was, and that explained why she didn't date a lot, because it would be a one date, and then, the rest of the time they'll come over to our house to eat or something. No, I'm not going to take your sister nowhere, because she wants people to spend a lot of time. So that's another downside to that. People are starting.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, this is Beverly. I just wanted to have a little input into the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, going on a first date, it's supposed to be something mutually agreed upon, at least in my book. And I think the Cheesecake is a nice place if you want to go there. But then again, you have to remember now, first we're going to the age group. That person probably in the age group, they're probably into the social media and they want to put everything on social media. So they go about that sort of way. But when you go on a first date, it isn't supposed to be a long date. You could go to the movies, you could go to a show, a jazz show, you could go to a club and dance, the movies, or a museum. Like in New York City, they have so many varied places to go on a first date. It doesn't even have to be eating something. It could just be a social event, just to get to know the person. It doesn't even have to be an eating place. It doesn't have to be a high-end or low-end. It could just be, as usual, as I said, something mutual everybody likes. So, go somewhere, and even a comedy show.
I totally agree.
That's my input.
And I agree with that, because I'm one of them. I can go on my first date to Popeyes.
Well, that's your choice, and that's what they both agree upon. It has to be a mutual, it has to be something we both enjoy. Is a getting to know me, what we think about each other, and then there will be a second date, and then you could go from there.
I want to go somewhere where I will eat.
You could eat anything. Any gathering places have somewhere that is a cafeteria base. It don't necessarily, like I said, it's supposed to be a mutual thing. So when you go on a date, you call whoever it is, he or she, and let's go on a date and where we want to go, and if it's socially acceptable to you and the person, and then you go from there. In New York City, the other thing is that not everybody have a car, so it might be the bus, the subway, a taxi, So it's always something mutual. The subways, they meet somewhere and they go somewhere. So it's just somewhere to be happy and talk. You're not going to get married on the first date, hopefully, because, if you want to get to know the person. And like a lot of people say, a lot of things, they do happen. Some people go out and they want to have a meal to go with them, and some people walk out on the dates and leave them sitting there, So I just think a first date is supposed to be just a cool environment, and you get to know the person, and then you go from there. Second date, it could be a little more, socially deeper.
Yeah, 'cause you know me, I'm that brother. I go to Popeyes and get a struggle meal.
I hope you have a variety that you go to.
Hey, my mama always say you get things that you know is gonna come out sooner or later. That's what I be focused on.
We have a lot of cheap eating places, Applebee's, Olive Garden. It's Popeyes. So yeah, I guess your date will accept what you accept if she likes you enough.
Yeah, because I've been on dates to some of these little Mexican pubs, and they were very nice. They were very nice, and had a ball because of the person you're with.
Well, that's it. Sometimes you don't go somewhere, not even to eat, and you sit and you talk more than you eat. Or you go somewhere to dance and you talk more than you dance, because the conversation and you and the person get along. But you could know from the first half an hour after you get into a restaurant or somewhere with somebody, you can know if there's going to be a second date.
That's true.
You can know.
But if they did Popeyes for the first date, then I let them pick the place for the second.
You're ready, Popeyes.
Hey, I'm the poster child for Popeyes.
I like Popeyes.
Yeah, but you're not going to take me there for the first date. You can't have a conversation over the crowd in Popeyes.
No, but you go in.
It depends what time of day you go.
And you go to the park.
Yeah.
Okay, you go to the park.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you go to the park.
Yeah, well, you could do that. You could have a little picnic.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, my daughter and their friends, when they go out, every single thing is, I have to say, I call it on a movie screen. Everything is going to first, media this or this media or Instagram. It's all about show and tell and to show their friends what they did and this guy they met and, who had on. And so it's the age group too is what they go by.
Mm-hmm.
So, a mature person, yeah, it is sad.
Yeah, it's sad that we've become so material like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bad thing. It's a sad thing getting modernized. It puts us ahead in one place and it puts us behind in another place. All the Gen Xers and nobody have courtesy. Everybody, when you go out on the first date, first begin, unless it's agreed upon that we pay half, but most of the times, at least in my family, you walk with, as you said, they vex money. You always have money in case she walks out or it did not get along, so you have your money to pay, and you say goodbye. So.
Yeah, because I do know some guys that will take a woman where she, take a woman out for a $200-300 meal, and then the expectations after the meal is what gets you in trouble.
Exactly, yeah.
Because it's like, well, I done went out and spent this money on you. What you gonna do for me?
Yeah, they need to pay back.
Hey, girl, I done went and got you a Big Mac meal. What's up? Matter of fact, I supersized the fries and the drink.
superlative, superlative. I would love to see you do that on a date. You will really be on the social media page.
It makes me laugh. You crack yourself up sometimes.
Yeah, but you know, as you get older, you learn.
Mhm. Hopefully.
You know, you learn.
Hopefully.
You're supposed to. Let me put it like that. You're supposed to mature as you get older.
When last you went on a date?
Pardon me?
When last you went on a date? Whether it's your wife, your daughter, when last you been on a date?
Oh my goodness.
Okay, that's it.
It's been a minute.
Question answer.
I mean, it's not for the sake of not having anyone to go with. It's just that I'm a busy person, and I really, like I said, I'm one of those. When I get up, I'm running, and I'm running till it's time for me to go to bed. So when I do something, I'm running by just picking something up and keeping moving. You know, I talk to people every day on the phone. But as far as just going to sit down, well, I know. And like I said, just as far as sitting down, going and have a conversation with a woman on a date, it's been a minute. It's been a minute.
Well, that's why you're talking about Popeyes and McDonald's.
Hey, you know, them fries be good, though, because they had that salt on there.
Your pressure probably high, too. Take a time and invite a woman out on a date, and it will be a difference in this century for you, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, and then come back and have the same conversation.
I could do that. You know, I've been on dates before, but it has been a minute since I've been on a date just within the last 6 months.
Okay. Try something new. It's a new season.
Yeah, you know, because back in my old days, this was the time of year that I started decreasing the members of the team because the holidays was coming up.
Oh, boy. Let's get to buy, huh?
Hey. But, you know, as I say, as you get older, you learn. You mature.
Yeah, and that's probably why you're alone.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that. I may be by myself, but I'm never alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I may be by myself, but I'm never alone.
That's true.
You know, and then even at that, being by yourself is a choice.
All that's true, but it doesn't give you a date.
Well, I mean, haven't done it in a while. I haven't done it in a while. But I think I can muster up enough to make it happen.
Please don't take them to Popeyes.
Pardon me?
Please don't take them when you muster up to Popeyes. Please don't go to Popeyes.
I don't know if you've been to Popeyes or not, but they got them ghost pepper wings. Woo-hoo!
They can have all of that. I don't want to go there, even if, you know, it could go anywhere. Take the person somewhere else.
No.
They may have a second date. If Christmas is coming.
If I'm really taking a woman out, then I want to go to a place where we can actually sit down and have a decent meal and a good conversation. Because like you said, it is about that time of us getting to know each other better.
Mm-hmm. So as I said, you can't do it at Popeyes. They're small, they don't have enough room, and it's a lot.
Yeah, with a little dirty rice over some gravy, girl. Look at here now.
I enjoy it. If you go there, I hope you get to enjoy it.
You know, well, I mean, but it's like you said, you're supposed to be enjoying the company.
Yeah. Anticipation. If you go and pick up a girl to go on a date or a woman, I think that's the last place they're probably expecting, unless you mutually, as said, agree before the date. So when you get to her house and you pick up and she's looking fine and she's ready to go somewhere, or she thinks she's going somewhere and you end up at a Popeye, what are you going to say if she looked displeased?
I mean, if she dolled up and she dressed out, then yeah, we'll skip the drive-through at Popeyes, and we'll go somewhere else.
Okay, all right. Find an Applebee's. Find a cheesecake.
I mean, and it's like Everett said, I like going to the Cheesecake Factory because I actually go for the cheesecake.
Yeah, I do like cheesecake. I like some of their drinks and some of their, the gumbo and the crab cakes and things like that. But I'm sure there are a lot of other, smaller restaurants around that you could have, ethnic restaurants, African restaurants. You could have a little simple meal and a quiet place to talk. And so it's about getting to know each other. That's the thing. And some people can't carry a conversation for 5 minutes. So sitting somewhere to talk and having a quiet place and you get to find out, each other's backgrounds or what you likes or dislikes. You need a little quiet place.
And I will ask, once I decide where we're going, I will ask, is this suitable for you? Because I know everybody does not go every place because you don't want to go to a beef place and that's all they got and this person don't eat beef.
Right.
That would be like me going to a pasta place with somebody and I don't eat pasta.
Mm-hmm.
So, I will ask about the accommodations that have been made to see if this is suitable for you.
Right.
Because I am that person when I do take a woman and I do like for them to enjoy themselves.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah. I joke and kid, but when I do decide to do things like that, I do things like that right.
Okay.
Because like I said, I would like for that to be a memorable experience. So yeah, something that you would look forward to the next time. You just don't have to go put it on YouTube or any of these other social media channels and stuff like that. Well, it's like everybody done got off the line.
Yes, everybody went off the lines.
Uh-huh.
No, we're still here.
Okay.
You know what, I'd like to just say something real quick, Dr. James. One of the problems that gentleman made when they was going to take that girl to the restaurant, they missed the reservation, was he don't know how some of us are. Sometime when you plan like that, people are on, and I hate to say it, but CP time. So you got to tell them it's 6 o'clock reservation when it's 8. And, I used to do that all the time. Because you never tell them the truth, but they're always going to be late, But I guess you learned that with experience, too,
Well, the first day, so I guess you didn't know.
I mean, I know people that if that was them and she was late, they leave.
Right.
They would leave. Go ahead.
It's so interesting that it's their first date, but I'm sure they had conversation before that. And she gave an impression that she was a different kind of person in that conversation. But when it came to getting together in person and going out, she showed her true colors. Because she made him wait, disregarding his feelings, feeling like she was a priority. Now, unless she had an emergency. Okay, if she had an emergency, that's something different. And they really should have talked about that. If she had an emergency, they would have talked about that. He could have made reservations later because they would have communicated, I would believe. You know what I mean? But otherwise, she just felt she had it like that. So if they get married, I'd like to see that video. But I think that's a defining moment for them to see that in spite of the good conversation, this thing just isn't going to work. Thank you.
Yeah, because like I said, I know some guys would have just left. And if it was vice versa and the guy was late, someone would have been like, well, no, I changed my mind. I'm not going. Because some people are actually that tight about time.
Hey, good evening again. It's Everett. Going back to the original, what you were just talking about, everybody's still elaborating on that. A guy sometimes he may go a little bit above what he can afford, trying, if he really is interested in this person, like Miss Ivanier said earlier, that they probably had, a conversation or two before they decided to go out on a date. And sometimes a guy, if he finds someone he think that, they're going to maybe be compatible or going to have more than one date, he may just be trying to make that first impression that, we are going to have a good time and it's going to be on me. But like you say, you don't want to start out, you go into a high-end restaurant one night and the next night all you can afford is a Subway sandwich or something. But guys have a tendency to try to impress young ladies, and young ladies and women can be difficult at times. I know I'm going to get some feedback off of that one. But it kind of works both ways. But the guy usually 9 times out of 10 is trying to make, that first impression is usually the last one. But you want to go above your means because you just want to kind of stay consistent. Because you want to stand in with your pocketbook or what you can afford, what your pockets can handle without you putting yourself in dire straits. But for the young lady to try to clown the guy because she didn't want to go to Cheesecake Factory, and he did explain that we had a reservation, he may have not have made that plain to her until that time that I had a reservation. That's kind of one of the deals. Hey, I'd like to take you here for dinner. If you agree, reservations are required. And when you make a reservation, you need to be on time, because if you're not there, you're scratched. And if there's a waiting list, that person gonna get your spot. But it has to be a mutual agreement between the two parties.
Yeah, because I've been to restaurants like that as well. You late for a reservation. You don't have that reservation no more. Hello?
Hello.
I know we have, you said 3 new members tonight. And I don't know, what their opinion is, or if you choose to elaborate, please do so. But just the group that we have here in this network, they know a little bit about us. So we'll just let you 3 new members tell a little bit about yourself, and if you'd like to elaborate on Brother Hamp's topic tonight, do so, because here in the near future, you three are going to have a topic to give, so you might as well go ahead and break the ice and get used to talking to the folks right now. Hamp, you have any opposition to that? Carry on, otherwise we let them come in and introduce themselves.
Nah, I don't have any.
Well, I'm going to let you pick one, and they'll start it, and then the other two will come on in behind. Otherwise, we'll be sitting here all night.
You finna get me in trouble.
No, you can't get in trouble. You're a grown man.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, you can get in trouble, but...
Yeah.
I mean, you're scared to go to church.
I will say this. I told them that I would not put them on the spot tonight.
Okay, understood. I got
their
it.
First time on the line. I told them I would not put them on the spot tonight, but I did inform them that they would be responsible for doing a topic when their time comes.
We won't throw them in the fire right away. So LaShonda, LaTanya, and Tremel, my apologies. So y'all get a pass tonight.
But and it's like I said, I'm just thankful that we're able to grow as an organization, and with the organization growth, so does the podcast grow, and that's the biggest thing that I'm most thankful for with all what has come up out of all of this. So, for you all, I definitely appreciate your time, your efforts, your understanding and consideration in joining the group. I do thank you. But to get back what we were talking about, I'm not in Leesville tonight. I'm in Lafayette. And that was another reason I kind of went with this topic, because just for GP, I went over to UL and just kind of posed the question, what would be your ideal first date, with someone you only had conversation with. And I think I might have talked to probably a total of 20 people, female and male. And the biggest thing I got was somewhere over there in the village is where everybody wants to go meet up at. And one guy was like, he said, you walking in there, he said, it's like walking in a slaughterhouse. You pick your meat. I say, but for your first date, he said, if you find them in there, you know where you're going, you know what you got, you know what you're dealing with from there on. I'm like, wow. So, a lot of things have actually changed from what I can tell about dating now as opposed to what it was when I was like really out there then. Because, that was one of the big taboo things, is going and finding people in large gatherings, because you didn't know what you got, especially if you was in large cities. And I don't think I need to spell all that out, but yeah, you didn't know what you got. Unless something jumped off that night, then you found out. But, for a first date, again, I would be one of those that would, like everyone has said, conversation is what I would probably, well, it's not our problem, it's what I would do to determine as to where we would go, because I would ask. I would ask, and it's like you said, sometimes when a man is taking a woman out on the first date, it is his ideal mission to impress this woman. And some people get hung up on that. You go into a place, you don't regularly frequent the place, but you want to make that impression. So this is where you take this woman. And my thing is, wherever you start, or however you start with one, that's how you have to continue in order to keep them. So, in most cases, I believe just kind of being yourself. You don't do anything that would strain your pockets. And that's my soapbox. So I get off of it now. The floor is open again. And we hear crickets.
Well, a nice soul food restaurant's a good place, too. Like the first date. I think so, because usually they're not that expensive. And you can get a good meal or something you can eat and all. Yeah. So that's an idea, too.
Where is that?
He said a nice soul food restaurant.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But then here's a question. What if you're in a small town and the biggest thing there is McDonald's, Popeyes, and Whataburger?
Well, with me, I say Popeyes. I would say Popeyes didn't eat chicken; he ate spinach. Right? But I would go. You go where you got to go. I mean, if it ain't no other restaurants in town, if it's too far to drive to the next town, then you either eat one of them places, or you say, okay, well let's cook. Let's just cook in the house or something. Have dinner in the house.
You don't want to go on a first date at somebody's house. But why does it have to be somewhere to eat? Why can't just go to a bar, or you could go to a show, go to the movies?
You can do that too.
Well, but if you go to the movies, how much conversation are you gonna have?
Let's see, the first date isn't the first interaction. But the key to it is that the two people decide on it before they're at the bus stop, or before the taxi pulls up, or before the ride pulls up. You decide on where you're going to go and what you're going to do, so you know if they're going out to eat, what their dietary preferences are, or if you're going to go to a show and you needed to buy the tickets in advance. You communicate before, as you were communicating before. Unless, of course, it was a blind date. But, of course, a blind date, you're not picking me up. Truly, you're not picking me up. So it's all about communicating in advance. And even if you wanted to present a surprise, you're presenting a surprise based on the knowledge you received in a previous conversation.
So would it be all right for me to ask the woman to pay half the bill? Is that all right?
If that's what you decide in the beginning, you don't decide it when you put the fork down. So if you discuss that in advance, then sure, I think it's called going Dutch. So depending on how old they are, they may know or not know that phrase, but it's all about communicating in advance. No surprises.
I think if you do that, you probably ain't going to eat too much.
I went out with a friend of mine. All we did was shop for food and ate. Shop for food as in like food shopping, and we ate. Those are the only two things that we did together. But what he appreciated about me is that when we would go out to eat, he would opt to pay, so I would tip. And the tip was usually at least the price of my meal. So he appreciated that. I didn't tip $5 or $2 or $3. They received the price of my meal. So he liked that. I didn't know he would. It was just that thing that I would do because I appreciate what people do. You know?
I'm glad it wasn't me. Because I'd have had to go back and get half of that. I had to go back and get half of that, too.
Hey, excuse me, somebody got some background noise going on. I don't know if you got a speakerphone, but I can hear your TV or whatever. So I don't know who it is. Just kind of check around and see if you got speaker on or if you got the TV on, turn it down. Please.
Okay. But yeah, I have heard of the term going Dutch. I've done it a few times, but I felt bad afterwards. Because I'm like, damn, I could have paid for that. And I don't know. It just made me feel some kind of way. And I've been in situations where I paid one time and we go out again and they pay.
Now, you know what? Some of those, like sometimes you go to a hotel and they have a restaurant in the hotel. Is that appropriate to take a woman to a date or to the restaurant in the hotel on the first date?
Well, I'll offer my opinion on that. If you go into the hotel just because the hotel has a nice restaurant, there's no issue with that. But if you go into the hotel restaurant expecting to go upstairs to the hotel room, then you might be in for a rude awakening or a nice surprise or a slap in the face. But no, it wouldn't be inappropriate to take a person to, a hotel restaurant. Just that'd be kind of weird that you would do that. I mean, the hotel restaurant must have excellent service, or you've been there before, and the person might not be comfortable with going to that type of venue on a first date. Maybe not for a first date, but like I said, nothing wrong with it in my opinion. Just because the hotel has a nice restaurant, then why not? But, don't go in there with any expectations that you at the hotel restaurant and say, hey, we're going to the hotel. I got a room. Ooh. I think that's a, totally different situation.
Especially if the hotel.
Yeah, that'd have to be a long conversation. Yeah, that'd have to be a long conversation. But like again, you do have people who think like that. I've taken you out for this meal that you wanted to go get, now that the meal is over, we've had dessert, what's next? That's
I heard. I heard one lady said it wouldn't be good to have a first date at the house. Now, I said when the last time you dated, I would have to say I probably had 3 dates in the last 3 years that you really want to call going out on a date. But one was here at the house. I'd met a young lady and we talked. And everybody know I can cook a little bit. And she was saying, well, you cook dinner, I'll bring the wine. I made a fabulous dinner. And the night was supposed to be the food, the wine, listen to some music, look at a movie. All that happened. The date turned out fantastic. A couple of weeks later, I think it was Valentine's Day, went on a date at Applebee's. That'd be date number 2. But with it being Valentine's Day, lady requested something. It was a little bit extravagant, but, I did it. And this was like date number 2. Date number 3, and it was almost like, hey, are we going to be serious, or are we going to, well, I said, I'm not ready to be serious, but we still continue to see each other on and on. But this person here was really, I think from day 1 or after a month or 2 or so, was looking for a husband. I was not the one. So, but like I said, it all started with met in the club, had a good conversation. Next thing, dinner. Next thing, date. Several dates. I said 3 times since in the last 3 years, but it was with that one person. But they finally found that husband, and I definitely, she puts everything on social media. And I went on to say, congratulations, you did it. But it took her like 3 guys to do it, but she did it. And we always talk, afterwards. And I said, no animosity here. And we still wave and smile at each other, but I'm really happy for you because at your age, it's a wonder why you being married for the first time at the age of, late 40s then, now like I think 51, 52. But different things, different strokes for different folks. Yeah. Things happen for a reason. And like I said, I'll go back to what I said. When we initially brought this, Hamp brought this topic to the floor, it's on the individuals of what they agree or disagree on. And like I said, I would probably be one of the ones throwing shade at the young lady that tried to clown the guy for taking her to the Cheesecake Factory, which is not a bad place to go. But if you had higher expectations, you should have been ready for reservations. And once again, do we know if he told her in advance that he had made reservations at the restaurant before they ended up at the Cheesecake Factory and all this hoopla came about?
Can I make a comment?
Sure, because I think I'm done talking for the night.
I think the bottom line to the whole question is expectations, and like I said earlier, and like I've heard others say, it's what the expectation is. My expectation, and like we originally started talking about Cheesecake Factory, and like I said, I have never really, Cheesecake Factory is not what I call a high-end restaurant, so I wouldn't, that's like kind of a neutral restaurant to me, so I wouldn't have an attitude because somebody took me to a Cheesecake Factory, and I might just want some cheesecake because I've only been there like once. I've been there to get cheesecake, but to eat the food other than that, to me, the food is not that good. But it wasn't, but when you go on a date, most times, it's not about how good the food is. It's about the company, So it shouldn't. I think it's a red flag if somebody's looking at how much money you spending on the first date. You know, I ain't gonna spend no money on you at all next time. You know, because the first date is about getting to know somebody, not seeing about how much can you spend on me. You know, and that's where I find the problem.
Yeah, and I would think that would be a problem. For the average person, I think that would be a problem. You know, because again, to me, you're one of those that want to go and want somebody to take you someplace that you can't afford to go.
Exactly. You know, with me, and I'm talking about back in the day, you know, now I guess it could be the same for me now. I would be more impressed with a guy who wanted to take, let's go on the first date. Okay, let's go. And I'm from New York. You know, we can go to Central Park and have on a nice day and go to a hot dog stand and have a hot dog. You know, and go sit down somewhere and just have a good time talking and stuff. That, to me, would be a nice day because it's not about how much you spend. It's about how well we get along. The fact that you make me laugh, the fact that we can sit down and have a conversation without turning into an argument. You know, that's, you want to impress me like that. You know, how much you spend on me, that might be a turnoff for me. So what's wrong with you that you spending all this money on this lunch? You know? So it depends on the person and what the focus is. You know?
Yeah, that's understandable. That's very understandable. Because, I mean, different people have different standards.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and for a person of meager standards trying to impress someone of great standards, that doesn't always work out too well.
Right.
You know, I just believe in if I'm taking you out, I'm taking you out to show you what I would like if you were to take me out.
Hmm. And that's real.
Yeah, you know, I'm not saying that this is a requirement for you to take me out, but this is what I like. This is how I do things. And if that's something that you're in tune with, if that's something that you can follow along with, then we good. That's something you can add to, we're even better. But, you know, it's like everyone else said, the biggest thing is about communicating, being able to communicate with somebody. Because I know for me, I'll ask questions. Well, where you want to go? You know, what do you want to do after this? You just want to go to dinner, go home, go to dinner, catch a movie, go to a show, go to a jazz club, do what? You know, because there is a place in Houston called Phil and Derek's that I used to frequent with a date because I liked the club. And it was like a little supper club, especially on tonight's like this, Wednesday and Thursday night was live jazz. You know, and you take a woman in there, you have a table, you get a menu, or they even had a buffet. They have drinks if that's what you wanted, and if not, you know, they had other stuff in there for you. They had the patio that was always lit up and open. If it was a little cool outside, they had the torches out there to keep you warm. You know, I like that type of atmosphere.
Yeah, I like that too.
Can I share a story?
Go ahead.
Well, call me naive, but I was speaking to someone and they said, do you know what a lifestyle party is? So here I go, being naive. I'm thinking, it's people who are upper class but are down to earth. He said, you don't know. I said, I don't. Okay, well, what is it? Anyone here know what a lifestyle party is? Okay. It's a
I'm
swingers.
not familiar.
The swingers party.
Call me naive, too, because I have no clue.
I surely didn't know. I was like, oh, no, thank you very much. He said, well, that's what it is. I said, is that all they do? Is there music? Is there food? Is it just one room or a separate room that, sex goes on? He said, no, it's in the other room. But, I said, well, I can still go. I don't have to go to the other room. He said, but you might get pulled in. I said, well, then that'll be somebody's happiness. But it wouldn't be my intention. A lifestyle party. I'm like, oh, my gosh. Okay, now I know.
Yes, I'm very familiar with the community. Been to several. It's very elating. It's not for everybody. That's why it's a secret community.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
Do you have to be involved with sex?
I can't hear you.
Do you have to get involved with sex?
Negative. Everything is free choice. Just like when you go to a bar at a regular club, nobody's forcing you to drink.
Right.
That's your choice. They provide the venue. You manage yourself.
Thank you. So I can still go. Thank you.
Exactly. You can just go and mingle.
Yeah.
Eat some cucumber sandwiches or something, grab you a drink, and just kind of float around. You ain't got to go nowhere near where any of the extracurriculars are happening.
Thank you. My drink is salsa water, so as long as they have salsa water
there you go.
I'll be fine.
There you go.
Thank you for that. I have no fear now.
It's nothing to fear. See, that's the problem. The problem is when someone hears something or society hears something that's against the norm, it's immediately taboo because it's new to them. But it's not so third world as people think it is. It's actually happening in plain sight right in your face more than you think it is. You just don't know you're a part of it. You've probably been in this temple and didn't even know it.
I'm glad I brought it up. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
because I do want to go.
That part.
Thank you.
Always. Please believe I'm going to be me regardless.
Absolutely. Thank you.
What do you mean by it's not so third world?
Say that again?
What do you mean when you say that it's not so third world? It's not like third world.
When I say it's not so third world, it is not so foreign that people makes it think, that most Americans make it think. In other areas, that's just the norm. It's just Tuesday. But here in America, it's nothing that's it's not uttered so common and in basic conversation. So, it's the ooh and the ah, the timid, when really they're the ones that's behind the curve because it's happening more than you think it is. You've probably been to several that don't know it. It can be not so much disguised, but it might be a general Christmas party at your job that you go to. They look like regular parties.
I just wanted to know what you meant by third world, because I am from supposedly a third world country. But
no, not in that sense.
Okay, so that's what I wanted to find.
Yes, ma'am, I understand. No, not in that sense. Not in that sense, no.
All right, look like we have about 5 minutes left. So at this time, I will ask all of those who are online and have shows, announce yourselves, your shows, and what time they come on.
Okay.
Ibadene. Okay. You there, Adrian?
Go ahead, Ibadene.
Okay, thank you. Hi, this is Ibadane with Ibadane with Company, Talk Worth Listening To. And my show is on Mondays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All are welcome, and I thank you.
Next.
This is Adrian with Can We Talk with Adrian. That's on every Friday at 6 p.m. And, we talk about family, education, society, your environment, and a little bit of politics sometimes. Can We Talk with Adrian? Fridays at 6 p.m. on Grown Folks Network.
Next. Oh, okay.
Yes, Andre Rose of the CCC. We got a podcast that comes on Wednesdays from 8:30 to 10 o'clock. Our president is Hamp Smith, and I'm the only one that really matters in this situation, so whatever.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, we've gotten that out. Everett, any last words?
No last words from me. We just need to, I know Forrest gave me a name, but I'm going to reach out to him because I saw his page on the YouTube. And like I said, it's under YouTube, Grown Folks Talking. And they had Forrest Nance, on the rest of the URL there. But I want to see how, because I think a lot of the shows, when they give the call-in number, as well as a link to go to YouTube. So we'll see how we can all. How many that's on the line tonight that have a show actually do your podcast through the YouTube link?
So what happens is you record the show when you're having it. Like now, this show is being recorded. And then once it's recorded, Jorge can put it up on the YouTube.
Okay, Jorge, yeah.
There's no way to do it live.
That again. Say that again.
There's no way to broadcast. I say, but there's no way to broadcast on YouTube live.
If you have on Grown Folk Talking, let me check and see. Hold on. Ooh, don't say I said it. I'm just looking. People be blaming stuff on me. Let's see if you can. Oh, they do. I don't mind though. I can handle it.
Because if there is, or we would try to want to do a couple of shows where we're doing live remotes and out in the community.
That would be awesome.
Now,
I'm not that technically savvy.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes, I'm not that technically savvy. I would have to need to get a young person to do my technology for me to be out in the community. And I've tried it, and it didn't come out well. But I'd like to try it again one day, because I think my podcast is about family and the community. So I'd love to be out in the community one day doing a podcast.
Okay, so I don't see a live option. You would probably have to be password in. However, if you created your own YouTube channel, then you could air live. It would save on YouTube, right? In your channel, and you could send the link to Jorge. So it would then be on your channel. Like I have my own YouTube, so all of my podcasts are on my YouTube. And then for the ones of mine that will go to Jorge, he can take the link from YouTube, my YouTube, and then upload it to Grown Talking. So if you start your own YouTube channel, which is not a bad idea, then you can do it anytime, because if you wanted to do live, like for your Halloween event or the different events that you have with PCC, if you wanted to air those live and also wanted them to be part of the Grown Folk Talking directory, then you would have it in yours with them, and then they could upload it to their Grown Folk Talking page as well. Did that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that made perfectly good sense. But I guess that'll be something we explore further along down the line. Because we do have several events coming up that I would like to see us broadcast live for those
now,
events.
to do a live, you probably, like she was saying, you probably have to have your own YouTube channel, and that's probably going to cost a whole lot of money that we don't have.
No, it
but
doesn't.
If you do it and upload it to a link, then it'll be seen later, just like you go back and look at all the stuff that's archived on there, different video, music, and, you know, comedians doing what they do. But
no, it doesn't.
I have a guy.
Yeah.
I have a guy.
But she said it doesn't cost a lot.
No, It doesn't cost. My YouTube channel doesn't cost me anything. It doesn't cost anything. So you have options. You can use YouTube. You can use Facebook Live if you have Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
You can go, instead of sending a message, you can press live and record your event, and then it will.
I do Facebook Live all the time.
Yeah, you can save in Facebook as a video, and then you can download it and upload it again to your own YouTube channel if you have one, or to Grown Folk.
Okay, well, we could probably, we could do a Facebook Live. I don't know if we'd be able to be on that. I could be on that a whole hour and a half because I've seen funerals and everything. So that'd be real easy. We just have to get the group together and then whoever, and they know how to come on. You can bring them in. They can see each other. Yeah, that's too easy. I never thought about that.
I did a 5-hour event at a spiritual temple last Saturday, and it recorded on Facebook for 5 hours. And then I downloaded it. It's on my YouTube. It was beautiful, too.
Okay. Yeah, we just need the proper lighting, and, you know, it probably wouldn't, then, you know, somebody had to have a good phone with good sound quality. But I have a guy, but he's pretty busy, but I think from 8:30 to 10 on this night he would be available. So we kind of went past our time, Hamp. I'm going to let you go ahead and shut it down.
All righty. Well, with that
Thanks
being
for that
said,
info.
Yeah, definitely. But with that being said, I would like to definitely thank you all for chiming in to the CCC's night, Grown Folk Talking. And I would also thank our new members for being on the line with us tonight. We sincerely hope that you have had fun and now kind of understands what it is we do on Wednesday nights from 8:30 till 10. And I will bid you all adieu. And before I go, it will be for me to say, take care of yourselves and each other. I bid you all adieu. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Don't forget, no Popeyes.